Welcome back to Travis Teaches Guitar, your relationship counselor for this instrument right here. Today I want to talk about something that I always touch on, but I really haven't expanded on as of yet. Today it's a good chance to might as well make a short video about what I'm kind of expand on what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is ear and learning things by ear. When I started playing guitar, there was no YouTube. There were You had sheet music, but if you had a guitar, especially where I grew up out in the country, you didn't have access to sheet music and things like that. So most of the people that I grew up with learned by ear. And when I mean learn by ear, they learn by listening to other people. I think even most of my the people who I admire, the old timers on the guitar, they all learned by ear, and they all went, was doing it in a different way even than I did it. Probably, I always listened to them talking about how they used to spin records. I didn't go that far. I at least was I was in the record days, but I graduated. By the time I had a guitar, we was on the cassettes and such like that. But I'm old enough that I remember the 8-track days very well too. And then I remember when CDs come out, but not to get too far off track, but so I learned a lot of songs. I'm talking about a lot of songs by just sitting in front of my stereo, putting in either a CD or a cassette tape of whatever I just wanted to hear, whatever I would normally hear. And sometimes I'd be buzzed up, sure, not all the times. A lot of times music was the buzz, right? So I would turn on an album and just try to figure out the songs as I go and try to play along. And in the process, it made my ear fairly good. It made my timing pretty good because at that time I didn't know anything about a metronome. I didn't even have access to books. I just knew my basic chords, and then I knew what music was, and then I just tried to figure it out. That there was no going to ultimate tabs and figuring out and seeing what tab and just looking Googling how to make the chords. There was none of that. It did not exist. So there was one of two ways that you're going to figure out a song, which was figuring it out by ear. Well, three ways. Someone could show you if they already knew the song, or you had to learn music and go read the sheet music, buy it from a store or something, which obviously the first option would be the easiest option. Now the sheet music is easiest for me, but so I will try to emulate what I used to do when I sit in there. I'm not going to pick a song. I have we got Alan Jackson's greatest country songs playing. I'm not really sure what's going to be first, but I'm going to show you what I mean by just figuring stuff out by ear and guessing. I'm familiar with most of Alan's songs, but I don't know whether this is capoed or not. But what I'm doing is I'm listening to that guitar. Got lucky and found it on the first one. Spread their wings, settle down, just what they need, living on love. She don't care about what's in style. She just likes the way he smiles. It takes more than marble and tile, living on love. Okay, I found that one really quick. I don't think it's right there, but I'm gonna do another one just so you don't think that was like fluky or something. That I when I first started playing guitar, well, what when I first started, but as I moved along, because I used to do this all the time, right? Even my guitar playing friends who knew more than I did would still bring songs to me just to figure them out. I was kind of their Google in order to do this. This is not a gift. This is something that you develop over time. I did not have this at the beginning. I wasn't able to do this. But as I listened to this thing and spent more time and hours on this guitar and listening into these different tones and listening into guitar music, then this thing just started to develop. Now it's hard to prove that now, but people know me from when I was younger and know that I was not always able to do that. But it's just a matter of listening. Now, as far as that song goes, it said, or I found it on A. Like, I don't know why I strummed that chord off the bat, so that's why I'm going to do another one. So just to show you. So I don't get quite so lucky. So you can see me maybe fumble around with it. But if it's on A, generally in country, I know that they're probably putting like a capo right here. If you don't know what this is, it's just basically your. They use it a lot in music, but it's kind of a cheater way of getting open chords. Like right here is going to be the chord, right? I could play it like that, but that's not how they're doing it, and I can tell that they're using open chords. So my guess is that he's playing like this, so I get my A. That's what I'm talking about, is that you get the general sense of it, and then you can kind of, if you know the song, like I know that song, most people know that song, then I don't need to hear the guitar. Then I can just match my voice, and I can hear if I'm hitting the wrong chord or not, like just like I was doing at the beginning. Do young people without a thing, I was trying to do it in the C. That's not it. You young people, that's the chord that I meant to hit. And once I hit it, okay, now I know. So now I know that the other chord is probably going to be the C that I was looking for. Living on by a long time, somebody ain't worth a dime. It's like an old Russian storybook rhyme. This is what I'm talking about learning something by ear. It is the easiest way to just explode your song library. Now all I have to do is just learn the lyrics, and I would know that song. I could, polish it up for a week or two, and then I could put that solidly. I'd say it would be a long time before I would probably forget that song, because it's a popular song and it's already in my head. So, and it's just really as easy as that. And this isn't something, I've been playing guitar for a long time, yes, but I could do this not in the very beginning, but I built up to this rather quickly, because that's all I used to do was play guitar and listen to music and try to learn those songs. I didn't put a lot of thought to it, and I didn't have any reason in my head that I thought that I couldn't do it. I think that's what a barrier is to most people. They think that they can't do it. They think that that's perfect pitch or something like that. It's not. And perfect pitch is something totally different, and I'll go into that on another video. That's a whole nother level of training your ear. But this is just listening and matching notes. Let's go to another song. I'm just going to pick one at random. Let's get past that. I don't even know this one. I heard it end on this E flat here, so my guess is that it's probably going to be capoed on the one here. See? I have heard this song before. Alright, 'cause I see angels and they got me by the hand. Don't you cry, don't you worry, I'm blessed and I know I am. 'Cause God has a plan. See? Whoa, turn it off here. So, again, that was more unfamiliar. The first one I knew pretty good, but that one was more unfamiliar to me. I have heard that song maybe a couple times, but I certainly did not know that song. And you saw me fumble around with that, believe it or not. I fumbled around with it. So let me explain what I did. The first thing is that I go around with one string, either on the E string or on the A string. And while the music's playing, I'm fooling around trying to find a chord of where I think it is. I'm guessing at this point. I got a little bit fortunate there at the end. I caught it right here on the E flat, okay? So, again, like the song before, they're not going to be playing this in country music generally. They're not going to be doing that because generally they like to play a lot of open chords. Not to say that they only play open chords, but there's usually always one instrument, and usually the acoustic, that is playing with a capo. So this little guy is your friend. So I know this is E flat, right? So what I do is that I take my D right here. That's an E, the same shape as a D, except for I'm moving it up right here. So this is E, this is E flat. I could make this chord like this, but they're not doing that either. We're going to let the capo work for us. And we put the capo right here. Okay, now I got my E flat in the open chord form. So now I just use my knowledge of a little bit of basic theory, and given that every time I hit that chord it seemed to be on there, I went ahead and made the assumption that it was going to be in that key. So if you're playing a song that is in D, generally it's going to be a 1-4-5 chord. So D, E, F sharp, G sharp. That's my G sharp right there. But in this case, it's just going to be D, okay? D, because we're going to act like this is the nut. So in this case, I know that that's G. D, G, and A is your 5. So your 1-4-5 progression. This always comes into play, and it comes into play a lot in pop music and country music and stuff, this 1-4. So a little bit of it was guesswork. Once I have this chord, and then I hear, now I'm listening for the chord change from that. And what I heard next when it went into the chorus was, just kept going back and forth. And it just kept doing that. You'll find that 1-4-5 pattern is, it's everywhere that it's used. So your ear, if you allow it to, will get used to that, and you'll just come to expect certain things, just as everybody is. That's why they make these songs, is because they've basically got everybody conditioned to certain patterns in music, and that's kind of what constitutes a good song to people, when it follows something, it meets somebody's, the general masses expectations. That's why if you ever heard the term cookie cutter and stuff like that, that's what they're doing, is they're taking a pattern that works and using it in mass, right? And these types of patterns are no different. They're certain types of patterns make up certain styles of music, and in that, there are no like dead set rules, but it's an easy grab. You're casting out a wide net, if you will, to the masses, and it's going to probably catch some fish and a lot of fish. Whereas if you go off kind of and beat to your own drum, yeah, you're going to catch fish every now and again, but you're not going to cast that wide net. So this is part of the trick of learning songs by ear. Let's try. Let me try. Let's try another one and see if I can just prove my point again. Let's go off an Alan Jackson. Let's go to somebody else and see if I can find. I'll stay in the country realm. Do some old stuff like Don Williams. Ads. Awesome.
COVID-19 virus. Protect your loved ones with Lysol. Tested and proven effective.
This is Don Williams. Just the best stuff. I'm not familiar with a whole lot of his stuff, so. I'm singling out the guitar in this. Trying to as best as I can. Sounds like D, G, and A to me, but we'll see. No, it's gonna be F and G, or F, C, and G. There's the F. The 1-4-5 again. I don't know that song. I've never heard it in my life, but this is what I'm talking about. You can do that. It seems like magic because I see people's when they bring or they ask me, especially my students, when they say learn this song, and that's what I do, and in just a couple minutes I have the song figured out, in a basic sense. When you start getting to the more fancy stuff, you have to listen a lot harder when it comes to lead. But to get a basic sense of the song, that's really all it is. It's listening deep into the song and singling out that guitar or anything that you can catch that's going to give you, enable you to hone in on that sound, on that tone. And when you find it, at least one of them, then maybe a little bit of guesswork and good fortune. And if you can nail down the key, boom, now you've just taken a lot of guesswork out of it. Because now you're going to understand what's going to be your minor, what's going to be your major, what's going to be a diminished. That's rare, but if it's in there, you'll hear that for sure. And you'll know which ones they are. So, for instance, in C, I know if there's something in the key of C and I hear a minor, chances are it's going to be the A minor, which is the relative minor. But it could also be the E minor or the D minor. But the 1-4-5 in C is C, C, D, E, F, which is, and your 5 is G. You see how it sounds familiar, and that's because it's everywhere. That is just a staple of music, and so this is part of getting your ear not only used to certain tones, but used to, patterns and things like this. Again, this is not talking about that's a different skill altogether, which is also learnable. That is, they call that instant recall. That is learnable. That really trips people out when I start doing that. That takes another level of listening in. But again, that is not something I was born with. That is something that I developed probably about 10 years-ish ago. And I will put together a course that will help you do the same. Because trust me, that will blow people's mind when you start doing that and you start guessing notes and you can hear what a note is. You can hear a G. That also helps me do what you saw me doing, but that I started doing that before I developed that other skill. So I would, if anything, I would say that learning that way has helped me to develop that other skill where I can and do that. So let this be your introduction and to learning things by ear. And the only thing you really have to do is start doing it. Listen to music and resist going to the internet and trying to figure it out by tabs or something else. Do everything in your power to try to figure out that song just by your ear. You don't have to do it in chords. You can do it. And this goes for any style of music. Start simple. If you know the chords and you can do it like that, then do it like that. Do it on one string. That is how I started doing that. That is where I developed that skill from. So just give it a try and persevere through it. And trust me, you will thank me when you develop this skill, and everybody who plays with you will also thank me even if they don't know me. So until next time, keep practicing.